So I really wasn't going to put no video out today, but I became known of this information on the fly. And, on my channel, I like to keep the family abreast with pertinent information, things that's going on in current news. So I guess the Longshoreman Association is about to go on strike tomorrow, which is the 1st of October. And they're responsible for unloading these big ships that come into the ports. And they come in with all kind of materials that we need in our day-to-day lives, such as batteries, food, you name it. Lights. So the family might want to get stocked up on waters, canned goods, and things they need because evidently they going through with this strike and it's going to be done tomorrow and it's going to mainly affect uh, the Gulf and parts, mainly the East Coast. And I'm on the East Coast, so we probably going to be hit heavy by this on the East Coast, and it's taking effect in Jersey, I believe. The ports out there in Jersey and the East Coast will mainly be affected, like I said, in parts of the Gulf. So I got the audio and the video of this family, and we're going to walk through and talk about this thing. Fair use.
Breaking news in the looming strike for union workers at major shipping ports along the East Coast. Thousands are set to hit the picket line this Tuesday. The International Longshoremen's Association ordering a strike after talks demanding fair wages hit a standstill. News Nation's Caitlin Becker joins us live from Port Elizabeth, New Jersey. Caitlin, what are we learning here? Major developments since the last time we spoke.
Yeah, truly, Jesse. I was not expecting to hear this today. We're 36 hours before the deadline, and the ILA sent out a communication announcing that they're absolutely going to strike. They're going to walk off the job when their current contract expires. Now, it's a 6-year contract. Each of these contracts are 6 years, and the expiration date is midnight on Monday. So 12:01 Tuesday, these workers are going to walk off the job. There's going to be a full-on work stoppage up and down the East Coast and parts of the Gulf. Now, the ILA has not released any details specifically about exactly where these picket lines are going to be. They said that's going to come likely sometime tomorrow. However, they did note what the major issue was, and it really came down, Jesse, to wage stagnation. They said that the U.S. Maritime Alliance, that is who they're in talks with or were in talks with, just wouldn't come to an agreement about what they called wage subjugation that they said had been happening for years. Now, I have to tell you that from the USMX perspectives, they have said time and again that they were offering industry-leading wages more than the 32%, which was the last hike that their West Coast counterparts got for their contract last year. But the ILA...
See, this is going back to wages, family, that these longshoremen is going on strike. And longshoremen, for what I know about looking it up prior to making this video, that's a hard job. They in charge of unloading all them big dock boats that come into the ports, and it's a lot of materials on them boats. You got to pay people what they worth. People ain't going to get out here, Americans get out here and just be pulling all that heavy material off these boats, messing up their bodies, putting their bodies at risk, of hurting themselves for low wages. You got to pay people what they worth. So they should have expected this, you know what I mean, for them, pay people what they worth, and you wouldn't have this problem. This goes back to that immigration thing. That's why they're trying to flood the zone with all these illegal undocumented immigrants, because they could put them out there to work for chips for fractions of the stuff that Americans will work for. These people will work for nothing, absolutely nothing. You know what I mean? And this is why we seeing the influx in all this immigration. It goes back to that. But you got to pay people what they worth. America is not going to get out here and bust they behind, because we know what we should be paid and we want our worth for things. And that's the problem. That's where the problem lies. But let's continue.
But the ILA wanted a 77% wage hike, and they just couldn't come to an agreement. Now, these two groups haven't been at the negotiating table for months. These talks stalled back in June. So this is something, kind of an eventuality that we were all expecting, and the ILA president has said in the past that they've been planning for this for a year. So the impacts could be far-ranging, though, Jesse.
Can we talk about that? Because what we're referring to, just to make it clear for our audience, is essentially...
Yeah, I think a big impact could happen to this, especially here on the East Coast, but in parts of the Gulf too, like they said, because these boats are supposed to be docked in Jersey or something like that, and that's going to affect the whole East Coast, and they're coming with essential goods, that we need in our day-to-day lives. So the family might want to stock up, because this could be pretty serious, stock up on things, generators and things you might need, lights, canned goods, water, toiletries, and all the essentials you might need, because we don't know when this thing might have an end in sight, because the way they're talking, they want upward wages. And if they ain't willing to meet it, they ain't willing to go back to work. And truth be told, I wouldn't go back to work neither. Got you busting down your body for um, smidgens of what you're supposed to be getting. People want their worth nowadays. The economy is high, everything is so high. You need to be paid more to compensate for the how high everything is now in society, because they got things just so damn high nowadays. You go to the store and you barely get a bag of you barely come out with a bag of food, and you spend $100 in the store when you used to go in a store with $100 to be able to get a few bags. You barely get one bag with $100 nowadays. Insane. But let's continue.
Essentially the entire East Coast. What is the
Entire
impact
East Coast.
on
That's going to be
customers
major.
come Tuesday?
Yeah, the entire East Coast will be affected by this. And I'm in Pennsylvania, so we close to Jersey. We ain't that far from Jersey, so we're going to be impacted along with the whole East Coast.
Could be pretty large. Probably Tuesday itself, we won't feel it, but the ripple effect, according to retail experts, are things that we could certainly feel. And you said pretty much the entire East Coast, and I actually want to read you the list of the 14 ports that are going to be impacted. They're, of course, the port of New York and New Jersey, which is where I'm at right now, as well as the ports of Boston, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Norfolk, Wilmington, Charleston, Savannah, Jacksonville, Miami, Tampa, Mobile, New Orleans, and Houston. That's a
Well, that's going to be major. And I'm not too far. Well, I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm close to Philly. I'm closer to Baltimore. So, yeah, we're going to be hit majorly by this, family. So, y'all might want to get stocked up on everything you need, just to be on the safe side, because we don't know when no end will be in sight for something like this, because they want paid what their worth is. But let's continue.
Massive number of huge cities. And every single good you can think of flows in and out of these ports. So as I said, the ripple effect could be pretty large. We could be seeing increases in shipping costs, delays in shipments, this backlog that's gonna sit untouched, not being able to be loaded and unloaded, because that's specifically what we're talking about here, the loading and the unloading of these shipping containers. And one of the things that the union had a problem with was the thought that their jobs could be automated in the future. I think we're hearing that in a lot of different industries, and that's, of course, a sticking point here as well. Now, full automation is off the table. There is a current ban for...
Yeah, they trying to automate things too now. Speaking of automation, because automation is where they get to save money, because if you automate things, nobody gets sick. You don't got to pay nobody nothing. You completely go to automation and put robots in them things. So that's something too that the family might want to be aware of, because a lot of these manual labor jobs coming here in the near future, they're going to put robots and things in these to do these kind of, not easy jobs, but just jobs that don't require no real thinking. So you might want to get something for yourself. That's why, truth be told, I'm trying to implement things to get my own business started and stuff like that, because I don't want to be reliable. It's just so uncertain nowadays, working for somebody else. You might come in there one day, they say we don't need you. You never know, but just it's better to be on the safe side with these kind of things and plan for the future. But let's continue.
Already in the USMX said they're going to keep that. However, they wanted to negotiate semi-automation, and these big cranes that you see behind me at this port, those are things that could potentially be semi-automated or fully automated, and that means these workers could potentially lose their jobs in the future. So in addition to, of course, all of these shipping issues and the ripple effect that could have with commerce as we ramp into the holiday season, all these people are going to be out of a job too. So hopefully the strike won't last for too long, and these two can come to an agreement on each side kind of getting what they want. We do know that the White House had tried to get these two sides back to the bargaining table because they wanted to avoid this exact situation.
Yeah, family, this could be major. We got to keep our eyes on the ball on this one, because we never know when no end in sight is going to be for this. So stock up on all the essential goods you need, and hopefully they don't go to automation up there with these longshore workers, with them cranes and stuff, because a lot of Americans will be out of jobs, and that's not good, but in no way, shape, or form, fashion. But yeah, keep your eyes on the ball with this thing, family. And if you haven't, you might want to start stocking up, not to, put fear out there, but it's better to be aware of things so you know how to, move accordingly. So you're not just bombarded by things at the last minute. That's why I wanted to put this out here to the family. So yeah, just be aware that this is going on, that they set the strike. The longshore workers down there in New Jersey is set to strike tomorrow, which is the 1st of October, family. So stock up on everything you might need for your day to day. Peace.